When it is time.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web. Today, I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton, and we invite you to recline back your chair, ease all of your cares, as we present to you our Friday night Smackdown review. And I gotta say, this was a solid outing for Smackdown tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Even the feud that I've been quite tired of and parts even disgusted by had their quote-unquote final chapter tonight that I thought was a very aggressive, quite fun matchup. So I'd say from top to bottom, I more or less enjoyed the Smackdown tonight. Don't really have much to complain about. Brother, what did you think about tonight's Smackdown?
Yeah, I would agree. I enjoyed it for the most part. And I actually agree with your sentiment too, as far as the one feud that we've really kind of hated and passed over a lot of the time. We actually probably will end up talking about that tonight because it was pretty enjoyable, and I really didn't have any. Well, I mean, there's obviously the underlying problem that we'll maybe address a little bit, but the direction that it took, I definitely appreciate.
Absolutely. So with that said, let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And again, brother, I don't think it's just a New England winner. I've got no heats of the night to share tonight.
Again, though, I will say, it is kind of an establishment episode, so we should at least address the big thing, like the elephant in the room here, the whole Aaliyah Murphy thing.
Yes. Let me go first on that, if I may.
Please do. Yeah, absolutely.
I was the one that used this platform to defend WWE because I'm apparently stupid and never learn. I really believed that this was going to be a story about how hate begets hate, violence solves nothing, and that Aaliyah, who was actually called naive to, starting her involvement, right, was actually going to be the smartest Mysterio of them all, choosing love, compassion, and openness. Nope, that didn't happen. They were actually hooking up the whole time. She says to Rey, as it relates to Murphy, "No, Dad, I love him." And they share an on-screen kiss. And that was probably the worst part of how everything was punctuated tonight. Kayfabe-wise, hell, even non-kayfabe-wise, just in general, I'll say. If I'm Rey, a father, okay, my daughter's 19, and I've been in the business long enough, and he's been working long enough with Murphy being around, you probably learned some things about the guy, including how old he is. Do you really accept him into the fold? You never struck me as, that open-minded, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't like how we're, tacitly accepting this. I'm not surprised the WWE's doing it, given who they're, again, non-kayfabe platforming, who's still got a job, this and that. But I don't really like the message this sends. And you know what the sad thing is, dude? No matter how much you and I have hated this story, and I can't speak for you, so I'm only going to speak for me, I feel like it would have redeemed itself considerably with me if it did go the route that I suggested. If they were really just friends, and I really do mean just friends, and Aaliyah showed that her friendship was more valuable to Murphy than the false comforts of Seth Rollins' cult. That could have been such a powerful fucking message at a time when we're seeing so many people radicalized, red-pilled, if you've heard the term, right, and brought into this cult because they lack community. The idea that Murphy found a community that loved him on his own terms and didn't abuse him was enough to wrest him away from Seth's control. That is such a powerful and relevant goddamn story, right?
Yeah, dude, that's basically the message of Behind the Curve, the documentary about flat earthers. That's pretty much the message, is these people aren't bad people. They have just found a community that accepts them, and they've kind of based their entire identity around that.
Exactly. So, you could have done this amazing commentary about how there's a family for everyone that'll love you for you and this and that. And I think, you know what, and yeah, fine. We could chalk it up to, are you sure, John, you're not just mad because that's what you wanted and you personally were wrong? Of course that's always going to be a part of it. But I genuinely, objectively believe that would have been a far better story than what they told here. Of it actually being like, I'm in love with him, which I'm sorry, like, you kind of make Aaliyah look bad too. I mean, maybe not tonight, but
you know what though? At the same time, I don't necessarily think they're making Aaliyah look bad so much as they're making Aaliyah look like a sort of typical lovesick 19-year-old, right?
Well, right, but I mean, it's vindicating Rey, right? Who, like, again, has, like, only fed into this with violence, and he calls her naive, and it turns out, like, again, the other shoe hasn't dropped, but all things considered, like, yeah, I guess maybe, I don't know. Maybe they feel like in a way this vindicates Aaliyah because it's like, oh, see, Dad, I told you he wasn't like Seth, but you really couldn't have done that another way. You really couldn't have done that in the way, and again, like we've just been talking about. So yeah, like I even went on Twitter and I like publicly apologized because like I take what we say on this platform seriously. I know it doesn't always seem like it with my humor, and I know sometimes I can get out of hand, and I do apologize for that. I have a lot of fun with you guys. But, when we give opinions and when we're serious, and I was very serious in my analysis, I take what we say on here seriously. We do have a platform, however many people we reach, I don't want it to come back like, oh, these guys actually defended this storyline. No, I was 100% wrong, and I apologize for such a fierce defense. And really, the only reason I'm apologizing to is I did call out other fans thinking they were going too far, right? Turns out I wasn't going far enough, so... I am sorry about that, and I wish WWE would have told a better story. Again, it was a fine matchup, the final matchup, but I really don't like the post-match and what's that is kind of signaling to me. I feel like I can even barely speak just recounting it all because to me it's just so messed up on so many levels, especially given the broader climate that this storyline is happening in. Ashton, do you have anything you want to add since we're talking about the elephant in the room here?
No, I definitely agree with pretty much everything that you've said so far. I think that the idea that Rey ended up basically being right when he called his daughter naive is kind of an unfortunate thing. Although I think they're also going to try and play it off like she wasn't actually naive, that she really did know what she was talking about, because her whole point that Rey thought she was naive about was that Murphy was different. And that was like, okay. But like, to me, the naive thing is thinking you're in love with him after you've known him for what, 2 months, maybe?
Yes.
Like, to me, that's that in and of itself. Even if you were right that he's not as bad as Seth, and that he's not like Seth, if you want to phrase it that way, you're fucking naive if you think you're in love with anybody after 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, take it from a guy that I've had that happen. I joke with people that I have, I don't want to explain the jokes. I just want to move on when I say it, that I have Montague syndrome. If anybody's curious, like I'd go into it later, but now's not the time. So like I've been there, and it's sad because I'm far older than Aaliyah is. So like I'm not even going to go like that hard, but yeah, like it's bad. It's bad. And I wish WWE would have just been like, no, it's about openness and accepting, and this, like, you were so close. Yeah. And they just had to make it creepy.
I'm just like, I want to just like, and I know that this isn't a real life thing, so it's not anything that would actually be necessary IRL, but like, in kayfabe, I just want to like go up to Aaliyah and be like, honey, what has happened to you in the last 12 years? Like, oh my God, so much. I can't possibly tell you everything. And then I would just be like, okay, and you've spent 10, maybe even 11 of those 12 years in school. This dude has spent the last 12 years in the real world, and you think that your life experience is going to match up with his at all? Like,
yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I've got nothing else to say because I really don't want to get redundant. I've liked the speed of our review since we've come back. So do you have anything else you want to add?
I was going to nitpick that we got a kind of a very anticlimactic debut of Chelsea Green, and then she ended up barely being involved in the match at all. But you mentioned wondering if she was injured. I just found out from my mom she has a broken wrist.
Okay, well, that doubly sucks. And yeah, I guess I won't tear into it too much because I already kind of read to you my notes on this match. Very unfortunate for Chelsea Green, who I think is one hell of a talent. That really sucks for her because it just
the
seems
unfortunate
so
thing too is the last person that did a spot with Chelsea was Liv. So I hope this isn't Liv's fault. I hope that this was like just an accident, like maybe she landed on it wrong or something. But yeah, it's unfortunate pretty much across the board.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think you said it best. I think there's really no point to linger on it. We'll talk more about the women's match, when we get to it. So with that said, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
As far as heat of the night or nitpicks, I don't think so, no.
All right, then let us get right into our Friday night Smackdown review. And we open up with a Roman Reigns promo with Paul Heyman. Reigns, man, his swagger is just on point right now. Yeah. He called Smackdown the island of relevancy. And Paul Heyman chimed in and said, and that's because, everything involving you is relevant. It becomes relevant. Reigns says, the proof is in the ratings and the analytics. He said, look at Jey Uso. Before Roman Reigns happened, Jey Uso was that twin that you couldn't differentiate from Jimmy. And now he's main event Jey Uso as far as he's concerned. I love the line that he said about Orton because, he did hype up Survivor Series. Love that Roman did that. And I love that by mentioning Orton and not even mentioning that Orton had a title defense this Monday, he was almost kind of implicitly treating as a foregone conclusion that Orton was going to be his opponent. But he said, when I think about Randy Orton, which I don't, Randy Orton's proof that you can respect what a man has accomplished without respecting the man themselves. I love that. Love that line.
I honestly disagree, but only because if I don't respect a person, I don't give a fuck about their accomplishments.
Right.
Like, if you're a piece of shit, I don't care what you've accomplished. Like, Jeff Bezos, cool. Amazon, whatever, fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. I like that Randy Marsh energy at the end there. Roman says he will show the dominant champion in his Survivor Series. McIntyre actually interrupts. And I just want to get ahead of this. I don't mean to, hop around. I do like how SmackDown and kayfabe handled a Raw star on their show.
Yeah.
Because McIntyre more or less just wanted to send a message. And again, this one time I can forgive it because it is Survivor Series. And then we do get a match later with Drew, but it's very clearly made unsanctioned because he's a Raw superstar. Yeah. So I think that's a way to both respect your brand split while, for the sake of Survivor Series and hyping up an interpromotional pay-per-view, getting that interpromotional kind of content. So good stuff there. But yeah, McIntyre does interrupt Reigns. Reminds Reigns, and I love the continuity here. I fucking love the continuity here because he looks at Paul and he says, "Did you miss me?" And honestly, it's been a minute since Paul's got me, but Paul just straight up said, "No, I haven't missed you at all." Because Drew reminds Roman, "Last I saw you, I eliminated you from the Royal Rumble to win and go to WrestleMania, where I then made Brock Lesnar my bitch and beat him in 5 minutes to become WWE champion." So I love the strong sense of continuity here, given the people involved. McIntyre says you weren't there, post WrestleMania. You kind of left us all high and dry, and then I became the man. You treat being the man as your right, as you're entitled to it. I look at it as an immense honor. And he says he's the man now, and he's going to prove it at Survivor Series when he beats Randy Orton this Monday. Roman without missing a beat. What I love about Roman's delivery, and we'll see it a few segments later here, he has such a great emotional range, but when he needs to be that confident, stoic leader, he fucking nails it because he doesn't even register facially everything Drew has said. Not missing a beat. He says, nobody even knows who you are. Nobody watches Raw because everybody's too busy watching SmackDown because I'm on SmackDown. You had your chance to be the man, and you failed your audition, so who even are you? Go on, you got the chance now. Tell everyone who Drew McIntyre is. McIntyre says that he's the man that's going to beat Randy Orton this coming Monday on Raw. Then he's going to go into Survivor Series as WWE champion, and he's going to beat Roman Reigns. And him and Reigns have a stare down. Jey Uso comes in out of nowhere, and he's like, yo, Uso, I got this. And more or less he says to Drew, what are you doing? This is SmackDown, and Uso's supposed to be on Raw. And Jey more or less says, look, Daniel Bryan, I got him. Kevin Owens, I got him. And by the looks of it, I'm going to need to get you too. And just challenges Drew. Drew shoves Jey, gets back in Roman's face. Roman just walks off, and after Jey makes
I will say though, when Jey came out, Roman looked miffed.
He did. He definitely registered what the fuck is he doing?
Because Jey was super high energy, and he was all getting in Drew's face, and he stepped in front of Roman too, which could also be perceived as a disrespectful thing. And then, he starts talking about we, talking about himself and Roman as if they're equal somehow. And you could tell Roman was pissed, and he actually addressed that later on in the night.
He did. I love that. Yeah. Jey using the constant reference of, we, which, great point there, and challenges Drew. Drew shoves him, You know, and Drew's like, oh, you know, I'll think about it, walk off. Is there anything you want to say about this promo since I pretty much just like recapped it? I loved it.
I'm good.
So.
I'm good. We can move on.
All right, so yeah, we do get that. We know that we're going to do Sami Zayn versus Apollo Crews for the IC title, but before we get to that chewing out that you said that happened. Yeah. Roman chews out Jay saying, "We like what's all this we stuff? Who's the Universal Champion? I never asked you to get in my business." And Jay's like, "Whoa, I'll take care of it." And Roman's like, "You better." So Roman laying down the fucking law. He's letting Jey Uso know, like, don't you ever do that again. Yeah. We go from one amazing champion, bro. And see this, dude, did we not just talk about this on NXT? Did we not just talk about that even though I adore Escobar? Oh, God, I'm sorry. I just needed that mouth sex. That WWE just has so many amazing champions right now. We get Sami Zayn. I love this fucking dude's manic energy. You've seen the meme, right? From It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they've got like all the lines and the pieces of paper on the wall. Yep. That's Sami Zayn's promo style. And I fucking love it. He said he only got an hour's notice, 7 p.m. before this matchup. I love how he put over Apollo, called him one of the most agile performers, 230 pounds, one of the best athletes that WWE has. But Sami Zayn says he's the people's champion, and I will admit, I put in my notes in all caps, facts. Fucking love this dude. And, you know, he says that despite the fact that WWE doesn't want him to be Intercontinental Champion, he's going to remain Intercontinental Champion. He's going to show Bobby Lashley the difference between him and the Intercontinental Champion. And so, yeah, I love that. As far as the match goes, it was relatively short. I think it demonstrated pretty well that Apollo had like a physical advantage in terms of the athleticism and the power, but Sami was the more cerebral champion, or the more cerebral competitor, really. He pulled off the apron skirt seemingly accidentally, but then he ended up tying Apollo up in the apron for the count-out victory. And I just wanted to make note here, especially to you, bro, and I thought we could talk about it a little bit. Okay. I love that WWE is genuinely presenting Sami as a cerebral champion, as an intellectual heel.
I mean, look at the way he retained the title against Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles. Like, you want to talk about cerebral? Holy shit!
Can I just say to you personally in your face, which is just so magnificent, that +5 for saying retaining rather than winning because Sami never stopped being our Intercontinental champion.
Oh, of course. I mean, that was definitely not a verbal mistake at all.
Yeah, I appreciate you for that. You're beautiful.
Yeah.
Dude, like, I love it, too, because the whole apron spot, like, you get such Yano vibes, but I love that they're playing it completely straight, that Sami is just really cunning. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself, because obviously we preview all these shows, and Survivor Series is a big force, so we'll even be doing post-Raw and Smackdown Rocket League streams that you guys can be looking forward to. Yep. But, dude, I would not be surprised, I'll just say tentatively, if Sami beat Bobby because of some cerebral shit. Because Bobby's very clearly, like, he
might even win by like disqualification because he like riles up other members of the Hurt Business and gets them to attack him or something.
Yeah, exactly. Because Bobby is very clearly the better athlete and the powerhouse, a lot like Apollo, right?
Yep.
But I agree with Javaris. Javaris just said Sami is the smartest champion in WWE, period. I completely agree with that. I would say maybe Escobar comes in second, but Sami, I think just with the way that he wins and his ingenuity, he is at the top. And dude, this is good. See, and this is what I love about character changes and growth. Because this Sami that uses his wits and this Bobby that's dressed to the nine and fucking flexes, that's a Sami versus Bobby Lashley match that I actually give a fuck about. Both of these champions are so well presented in completely different ways. That's intrigue. That's interest. This is fantastic. Do you have anything you want to add?
I just love the promo, and then we got the match itself.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, not really much to the match. You know, Apollo kind of imposed his will in parts, but Sami, feigned kind of ripping the apron skirt off, and then he was able to get Apollo in a position where he was able to tie him up in the apron and get the count-out victory.
Yep.
Brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. I've got nothing more to say than that.
Yep. And then we got the Adam Pearce, Drew McIntyre segment, talking about how Adam Pearce can't sanction a match between Drew and Jay, but he can have an unsanctioned fight if he wants it. And this was, I believe this is the segment where Drew was just like, Adam, do you know me? Have you known me for years? Are you aware of how I feel about things? And they did the whole thing, and he was just like, what do you think my answer is here? And they both said yes at the same time, so.
Yeah, very, very short segment. After that, we get a Rey Mysterio promo, and he essentially says that, look, this no-holds-barred match goes beyond him and Seth taking his eye at Extreme Rules Horror Show, or the Horror Show at Extreme Rules, as it was properly called. Rey says Seth made it personal when he involved his family in it and started rumors about, paternity tests and text messages, etc. Rey says he regards Seth as a kind of devil, and tonight in their final chapter, he's going to send him back to the hell where he came from. A direct promo from Rey, solid, family unity, same thematic kind of stuff that we get used to in Rey promos. So nothing really to say here. Do you have anything you want to add?
I don't want to add anything, no. I guess we can move on, which up next we had Sasha.
Yes, a Sasha Banks segment. Sasha's your girl, bro, and I feel like I've been talking a lot. So why don't you walk us through this promo and how you felt about Sasha actually retaining a championship? That had to feel good.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Her promo here was solid. Bayley's music ends up hitting midway through the promo, and she kind of looks like she's going to come out, but then Carmella attacks her from behind. And I don't think Bayley ever even hit the ring. I think Carmella just super kicked her and then did the jumping face buster and left. So the big thing with this was I'm just wondering if we're getting a full-blown Baymella reunion. Like, I would absolutely love it if at Survivor Series, Liv and or Ruby pinned Shayna and or Nia, and we got them for the tag titles at TLC so that we could have a Liv and Ruby versus Baymella tag title feud. That would be fucking amazing.
I'm all for that. You actually kind of got ahead of me there, because I even put in my notes during the four-way that, like, I'm happy for Liv because she did get to be on the team for precisely that reason, to get the women's tag titles. But I didn't think far enough ahead to think Baymella, but I love that idea. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I agree with you. The Sasha segment was great. I love that Sasha began the promo saying, haters said that she could win it but not retain it, but here she is as our SmackDown Women's Champion. She says this is her division, and she's putting everyone in the back on notice. That's when, of course, Bayley interrupts, and then Carmella is saying, oh, I'm not, in the back, or I'm not behind you. I'm right in front of you. You got to keep your eye on me. It's not me keeping an eye on you. So Carmella looks good. I've always thought that she was a bit of an underrated in-ring worker. Got, a lot of flack for nothing, at least on that front. And I think, and I don't mean this as an insult, but I think given the performers that WWE prioritizes, aesthetically and otherwise, it's always a safe bet to have a worker the caliber of Sasha as your champion to give those people you want to prioritize their best match. I think the match that Carmella has with Sasha is going to be the best match she has all year. Like, that's just my feeling on it.
Bro, it's going to be probably one of the best matches, if not the best match of her career.
I mean, that's certainly true. I'm just keeping it in the context of the present, but you're absolutely right about that.
Especially because, when was the last time Carmella even wrestled?
Yeah, that's true, too. I honestly can't even remember. Javar's like...
It was probably Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, I think it was... She was in the ladder match, right? So, yeah. But Javar's like, here's the thing. I already hate this feud. It barely has even started. But I do think Sasha and Carmella will be solid in ring. And we'll see what happens there, but I don't want to dwell too much on this. So we're just going to move right along. We have Otis in the back. He's eating like a big, almost 3-course meal by himself. Yeah. Rude and Ziggler interrupt. They're talking among themselves, acting like Otis isn't even there. And they're just kind of laughing about Otis lost not only his Money in the Bank contract, but his best friend Tucker. Rude asks Ziggler, hey, does Mandy Rose still text you? And Dolph, because he always has to put on a show. Oh, of course, you know me. I never get dumb. Nikki Bella, what? No. And Otis becomes enraged, and he flips his table over, and he kind of stares him down before walking off. Do you have anything you want to say about this?
I'm wondering if this is ever going to lead to anything actually happening between Otis and Mandy Rose again. Like, if they're ever going to get reunited somehow.
Yeah, I keep wondering that, too, because Otis has got, like, nothing going for him, to be honest. Like, at least on that front, because they just...
But, like, they're still keeping him strong, though, because, like, I mean, we're kind of jumping the gun a little bit here, but we did get Otis versus Dolph Ziggler right after this, and Otis won, and he won clean, and he won relatively quickly. Like, it wasn't a squash match, but there's no way this match went over, like, 6 or 7 minutes.
Dude, I think I even put in my notes, I even put in my notes, like, Otis pretty much dominated, because Ziggler got a zigzag early on because of a distraction from Rude, but that only got him a near fall. And once Otis took control, he never really relented it, and I think it's all the more impressive when Rude tried getting involved, and Otis just, like, stopped that. So he really overcame Rudolph by himself.
Yeah.
And, yeah, like,
That's kind of what I'm
the,
saying, though, is that it seems like they're really going out of their way to keep him strong, which really does make me feel like they're not done pushing him, which also makes me feel like the whole, like, Mandy, Otis, Tucker, Miz, Morrison angle might not actually be fully over yet. We might get kind of more coming out of that at, like, Survivor Series or something. I don't know.
I mean, brother, here's the thing, and I don't want to overextend. God knows what happened the last time I had thoughts about an angle. We just got done addressing that in our first segment. You know, if they want to paint Otis as, like, this blue collar, I feel like blue collar, like, I think, okay, this is going to be a bit of a scenic route, but just bear with me here. I think, like, a show like Roseanne and, like, shows like that, you may get wins once in a while, but really, thematically, it's always a struggle, right? And that's the thing. Otis having a beautiful girlfriend, having a best friend, having money in my briefcase, it was cool, but I feel like to really get those blue-collar roots and to really kind of convey that to an audience, there's got to be some struggle and there's got to be some grit there. So I almost wonder if they, like, made him lose everything. This way he could really tap into it and do bigger things. I mean, right. I've given up my hopes, right, of him versus Roman down the line, although I still think that would be an underrated matchup. I still think that's a matchup with a lot of value in it just because they come from two completely different worlds. But if they really want to build Otis as that kind of babyface, you can't be winning like he's been winning. Because, I mean, again, the contract, the girlfriend, the best friend, there needs to be struggle there. You know, because, again, even with Roseanne, and I'm not even going to say spoilers, the show's God knows how old, and, you know, they did the reboot, so fuck it. You know, there was a point where, we won the lottery. This baby in our family was born healthy. And it just turned out it was all a fantasy by Roseanne because the husband actually died. So, like, that's really where
when you say the husband, you mean the husband as played by John Goodman, right?
That's correct, yeah.
I didn't even know that he died in that series. That's kind of wild to me.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, you know, and then they retconned it again with the reboot and whatever. But my point being that it's almost poetic that when you're blue collar, the only success you have really is in a fantasy.
Right.
And again, if WWE was more Lucha Underground, maybe they could even, like, retcon it and be like, Otis just had a really long dream where he did all that in, like, one calendar year, and then he's going to set out to make that reality. But we know that it happened, and he lost it, and now we're back in struggle. So my own mental gymnastics make me not mind it so much, because if he is supposed to be blue collar ain't easy. So we'll see where Otis goes from here. But he dominated, got the Caterpillar elbow and a Vader bomb to beat Ziggler. That does seem to be his established finish because I've seen him beat quite a few people with that Vader bomb. So we'll see what happens. Following up with Otis, you know, he's kind of jazzed after his victory. Chad Gable propositions him. He says, you know, what you did out there, that's what you could be doing to everybody on the roster. What you need is discipline. And he gives him a brochure for Alpha Academy. Otis gets pumped up. He's like, we're going to work out together. We're going to eat together. Oh, yeah, it sounds great to me. And I love Chad Gable. Everybody knows I love Chad Gable. I know you're a supporter of Chad Gable, too. I'm hoping this isn't like a poor man's version of Thatcher Skull that he's got going on in NXT. It doesn't seem like it will be necessarily. But I also wanted to make a note here, if I had any nitpick that I didn't just want to waste on the first segment, I hope this doesn't lead to Gable being in another tag team. For fuck's sake, let him do singles as Chad Gable. That's what I've wanted. If him and Otis are going to do a tag team, I don't necessarily hate the idea because I like both guys. I would just be very dispirited by the idea because you had Otis do all this stuff in singles, and then that's not the blue collar message if he just retreats back to a tag team. He can only move forward. He can't go back, right? And then with Gable, it's like, really? You're going to pivot into another tag team? How did you feel about this, man? I'm curious what your thoughts were on this.
I had almost the exact opposite reaction to you. This got me really excited because in my mind, you're taking the Michaels of Alpha and the Michaels of Heavy Machinery and you're putting them together in a tag team. No way this can go wrong. Future tag champs for sure.
Yeah, you know what, dude? I'm happy you're hyped about it. I think another thing, though, that really, like, bugs me, if we're just getting it all out on the table, we know WWE doesn't care about tag team wrestling. So these guys being tag team champions, what does that really mean to them in a company that doesn't give a shit about tag team wrestling long term? Like, I don't mind a tag team.
You know what, though? I think just to kind of counter you on that, I think Vince doesn't care about tag team wrestling in and of itself, but he does view tag team wrestling as a way to push singles guys. So if he wants to make this a tag team as a way to push one or the other of these guys, I would prefer he pushes both of them. And if I had to choose, I would prefer Gable. But even if he just wants to use this as a way to reestablish Otis, give him a title and push him afterwards, I'm still cool with that because I do like Otis. And again, it gives Gable some spotlight. Even if the spotlight isn't going to be, a forever thing and it's not going to turn him into a main eventer or anything, he hasn't been on TV at all lately. So I will take a win with Chad Gable when I can get it.
You know what, man? I can't project on anything that hasn't happened yet, so I can't just shit on it when we don't even know where it's going to go. So I'll just leave it at I think you make a very compelling case, and I do hope you're right. So moving right along with that, we get Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio. We got a video package recapping the feud, and really, because I'm just going to be honest, a lot happened here. So how I put my notes was I said ultimately very physical match with a lot of inspired spots, and I listed a few. Rey hitting a tornado DDT on Seth, spiking his head on the apron. Rey doing a sunset flip, sending Seth into the barricade. I think one of the sickest ones was Seth hitting a Falcon Arrow on Rey, on the announce table. We had Rey hit a sliding splash to Seth while he was prone on the steel steps. Seth would powerbomb Rey when Rey would try and do a Rana attempt. These guys did a lot. And again, when I say physical, I felt like it was a very physical matchup.
Dude, yeah, this match was better than, I think, I might even go as far as to say any of their pay-per-view matches, but at least one or two of them.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I felt like for a final chapter, if you were going to end this,
yeah.
I'm glad that this was able to come back around and somewhat end on a high note, at least as it relates to the two of them. I don't think
while this match was happening, I just thought, where the fuck has this been? If this had been this type of match had been more common in this feud, I probably wouldn't hate the feud quite as much as I do.
Exactly. I feel like at times it was a little too gimmicky. I mean, like an eye for an eye match. Jesus Christ.
We don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah. And a bit overplayed, but I think when you've got energy like this, it really works out. Seth at one point in the match would super kick Dominic, and he would get a steel chair and he would take off, one of the safeties of it, because I think he wanted to take out Rey's other eye. Rey stops him. There's a lot of commotion. Rey drop kicks the chair in Seth's face. Murphy, though, gets in and he helps Seth back up and he hands him the chair. Seems like he's going to help Seth get to Rey, but then he hits the V trigger, knocks Seth out. Well, not knocks him out, but Seth is a bit stunned, and he's like, "You bastard, you son of a bitch!" Rey botches the first 619. Commentary tried to recover it and say that, oh, well, Seth knows Rey so well, he moved the ropes. Gets it on the rebound after Rey kicks him and kind of sets him up again, which I do appreciate. And then Rey hits a frog splash because today is the 15th anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's passing. Rest in peace, Eddie. And Rey gets the win. So yeah, since we already kind of talked about the post-match in our first segment and just address the elephant in the room, I'm not going to reiterate that, but just to talk about this matchup, I agree with you. I thought it was their best outing. I thought it was great energy all around. I will say another thing that worked to this match's favor was that I really thought that they had two options here, and I do ultimately think they picked the better one. The first one being, again, Murphy comes over to the good side, whatever. The other one, though, I could have seen Aaliyah betraying Rey.
Yeah, I really was wondering which direction they were going to go with this. I thought it was either going to be, pretty much exactly what you said. I thought it was either going to be Murphy kind of trying to play the long con to really hurt Seth when it mattered most. Or I also thought that, and I don't think it would have necessarily been a full-blown, I'm evil now, Dad, ha ha ha, with Aaliyah. I just think it would have been a slow indoctrination where Murphy over time earns Aaliyah's trust while simultaneously not necessarily being openly against Seth, but also really trying to hide the fact that he's actually still secretly with Seth. And the whole time just proving himself to Aaliyah and earning her trust and shit, and eventually revealing look, you should probably know, I never actually stopped being a part of Seth's group. I'm still with him. I just have been trying to keep it secret and trying to be a better person about it. And Aaliyah's just you know what? I accept you. And then we get the full indoctrination at that point. I could have seen that, but they went the opposite. They went with Murphy betraying Seth with the slow play, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Not going to talk about the post-match because, again, we already addressed that in the first segment. So moving right along, we have first Adam Pearce was a busy man tonight.
Well, no, I mean, did you talk about how we got the handshakes after this match?
Yeah, we did get the handshakes because Rey is looking at Murphy. He stops Aaliyah from going over to Murphy, and he says, come in this ring and face me like a man. He said, you wanted my approval. This is it. He extends the hand. Murphy shakes it. Aaliyah goes over to, hug him. She's really happy about it. Murphy then also extends the hand to Dominic. Dominic shakes it. So he's gotten his way into the Mysterio family. I really hope, because dude,
even the wife got in on a group hug with Murphy. It was fucking weird. It was blowing my mind.
Yeah, I'm like, so you're all okay with this? But again, we already kind of touched on that. So yeah, I mean, dude, here's the thing. One thing I will get out there, only because WWE has fucked with me so bad over the years. So I am so sorry, everyone. I am so sorry. I overthink. I swear to you, something happened to me, and I think this company happened to me. Like, I really do hope it's the end of the Mysterio cult storyline. But notice how they only said it was the final encounter between Rey and Seth. I'm really hoping that this isn't, yes, Murphy, we're gonna feign a blow up and dissension so that you can worm your way into the Mysterio family and destroy them from the inside, because that did cross my mind. Dude, you've seen bullshit stuff in wrestling all the time where we're like, wait a minute. These two were actually physical with each other. Why would they be working together? We've seen that so many times, I feel like. And this could be I don't think it is. I will say tentatively, I don't think it is. But I'd be disingenuous to all of you if the thought didn't cross my mind. So, with that said, we're on to the next segment.
I think I'm just going to get invested in the idea that Murphy really is done with Seth and that he really does hate Seth and that he really does want to be with Aaliyah and all that. And if I get worked, I get worked. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, with this fucking storyline, that's the attitude I've had to adopt too.
Yeah.
But speaking of getting worked, I'll explain how this happened to me in a few moments, because we get Natalya and Adam Pearce. Natalya's just wondering, why won't you just put me in the Survivor Series match? I'm the boat.
Dude, the way that she was obnoxiously stomping her feet on the ground like she was a fucking 8-year-old throwing a temper tantrum because she can't get what she wants at a Walmart really triggered me.
Yeah, it was bad, bro. It was bad. She calls herself the boat, which stands for best of all time, and that she can navigate Team SmackDown to victory. Pierce isn't dissuaded from his decision to put Natalya in a triple threat, and he says that is happening tonight. Before we get to the triple threat to become Fatal 4-Way, we also get Seth Rollins wanting a piece of Adam Pearce.
Oh, and you forgot to mention Chelsea Green also showed up and put her hand on Adam Pearce's shoulder and just smiled, and that was it.
See, I missed that, honestly, because I was tabbed out.
So they spoiled that Chelsea Green was on the show before they even added her to the match, which was really stupid, because they could have just been like, hey, this is actually going to be a 4-way, and then it's Chelsea Green, and we're like, whoa, this is really cool, she's going to win, and then she injures herself and doesn't win anyway, because...
So, you know what, just because you already mentioned that, and it'll save us some time later, in one way I'm glad that I missed it, right, that I was tabbed out, because I genuinely popped when they said Chelsea Green, because I missed the hint, right? But... Where it hurt, because I tabbed out, there's also a negative to this. I am such a mark, and I am so hopeless that when Natalya was making, the boat and, the voyaging references, and they said 4-way, I'm like, oh my god, is Kyrie going to return and be on Team SmackDown? Holy fuck. Put Natalya in place. So
you don't deserve to be manipulated like this.
I have learned that I am the stupidest SmackDown watcher in this show's history, because Jesus Christ, I need to stop.
Well, you know what though? That's also a symptom of withdrawal.
Yeah, that's true. But dude, they got me. They didn't even mean to get me. I got myself.
I love Javaris in chat too. Natty needs to navigate her way to a fucking retirement home.
Yeah, Mark showed him and sink that boat. But yeah, I am the stupidest SmackDown fan in television history. So that's my distinction. We get Seth Rollins winning a piece of Adam Pearce. He is irate.
Dude, you want to hear what I actually said in the live wrestling discussion tab in the Discord?
Oh, absolutely, man.
I said, Seth is so pissy.
Yes.
And I was like, holy shit, this feud might be over. We might finally be getting to Seth versus Murphy. And then, we got into the Fatal 4-Way. But yeah, that was my thoughts on it. I was really excited that the Rey versus Seth portion of the feud is over and that we're finally kind of transferring over into Murphy versus Seth. I was and I still am, very excited about that movement.
Well, not necessarily jumping the gun, because it did get announced later in the show, but it's most relevant here. We do know that we're getting Seth versus Murphy next week.
Yes.
So that's...
I was really surprised when they announced that, and it was just a clean match card without any stipulations whatsoever on it.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
That's definitely going to get maybe even a full-blown TLC match at TLC, if not something. Like, it won't be a ladder match, I can tell you that. I'm guessing that's going to be a chairs match. We'll see.
Dude, wishful thinking, but I'm just going to say right here, my dreams of Otis getting, like, the undercard, like, underdog title shot, if they would do, like, a TLC or a kind of ladder match between Seth and Murphy, winner gets a shot at Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble, and Murphy would fucking win it, and we'd get Murphy, Roman at Rumble, given that, like, facing Roman was the first match that Murphy had that really put him on the map on Smackdown, and they could reference that. Yeah. Dude, Murphy, Roman, because I love Royal Rumble some years, because, again, it's more like those undercard world title matches that you get. Give me Murphy Roman this 2021. Just you're not going to give me Otis, which I really wanted. Murphy, from an in-ring standpoint, is definitely the better choice. Story-wise, I don't know. I think it could be a compelling story, not as compelling in my head as like Otis Roman. But yeah, let's do Seth Murphy ladder match TLC #1 contender. Murphy wins. Big rub for the fucking dude. Let's fucking go. I mean, goddamn, we need to get something good out of this shit. So yeah, we'll see. Javar said he heard from Fightful that Seth is taking time off after Survivor Series. Fightful was actually one of the few, if only, dirt sheet sources I respect. So I will take that somewhat seriously, but we'll have to wait and see. Regardless, they are getting the match next week, and I just want to talk about Seth's energy again. He was irate, he was foaming at the mouth. He said, "I created Murphy, that ungrateful bastard." He was, God, so angry. And he said, I never want to see Rey Mysterio again. I created Murphy. I want you to allow me to destroy him. So that's Seth's focus. So we get that, and then again, get in the match next week. We get the Fatal 4-Way. We already kind of talked about Chelsea Green's injury and, how I thought she was injured. Really happy for Liv, though, that she pins Tamina to get the win, because most of the match was one-on-one between her and Natalya. Natalya is very frustrated, throwing a temper tantrum. But Liv and Ruby being on the same team, I fucking love Team SmackDown, dude, for this.
So it's now it's literally just Liv, Ruby, and Bianca, right?
Yeah, but that's an all-star team to me, depending
on... I wasn't saying it's just them, as in to say, like, oh, it's no big deal that it's them. It was more like, those are the only 3 people that we know right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, I figured you weren't taking the piss, because I figured you'd think that was
yeah, because that's a great fucking team for sure. I mean, fuck. You compare those 3 alone to the entire Raw team, and it's like, well, they're better than everyone except Shayna. And even then, I would argue that 2 of them, and maybe even all 3, are also better than Shayna.
Yeah. And, I just feel that Natalya is going to get on this fucking team. That's what it's building up to. She's going to find her way onto this team somehow.
I hope if she does, though, she loses the match for her team.
Dude, no, I don't want to get... Because I do want to save something for preview predictions, so I'm going to stay mum on this.
Mark thinks the final 2 are going to be Bayley and Natalya.
Could be.
It would be cool if it was to be Bayley and Carmella.
Yeah, because we know Carmella's not going to be able to get a title shot at Survivor Series. Sasha's already booked with Asuka.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's the crazy thing about Survivor Series, is that feuds are definitely happening, but they definitely pick up steam after Survivor Series when we head to TLC. But regardless, Liv's going. I really hope this is her and Ruby's chance to get back in the tag title hunt. I want them as our next women's tag champion so bad. So...
Yeah, but we've been saying that since, September at this point.
I know, bro. I have no hope left. I just need a little something. Drew gets interviewed. He's asked if it was smart to have a match against Jey Uso when he's got Randy Orton on Monday. Drew said he came to SmackDown to send a message to Roman, but now he has a chance to send a message to Randy Orton, through Jey Uso. McIntyre says he's in a great mood being on SmackDown, but tonight, Jey isn't going to be. And McIntyre reminds Jey that there's nothing worse than getting your ass kicked on your own show. That McIntyre's going to embarrass him on his turf. So, short, quick promo from Drew. His charisma just fucking oozes, shines through the screen. Do you have anything you want to say about this?
Nope.
All right, then we get Big E getting some money off somebody before the Street Profits, interrupt. Said, look, man, last week we were just trying to get in dirt on the New Day, but tonight they wanted to bring E a little something, and it's like three entrees, and Big E asks why they're all in the shape of an L before he figures it out, and you can see his face change. And Street Profits say, well, the New Day is used to handing out pancakes, but at Survivor Series, Street Profits going to be handing out L's. That is, if New Day even retains their titles this Monday against the Hurt Business. I will say the talent did a great job promoting Survivor Series and promoting the stuff that other shows have going on before Survivor Series. I thought that was really well done. Big E essentially calls Street Profit New Day Light, Great Value New Day, and other variations thereof.
Diet New Day?
Yeah. Yeah, Diet New Day. That was a good one. That was good. I'm glad you remember that one. He laughs. Street Profits like mockingly laugh with him as he walks off, still cackling. Street Profits just scowl, man. They're pissed.
Yeah,
like,
they go straight face real quick.
Yeah, they do. And then we get to our main event: Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. I'll let you go first on this one, man. How'd you feel about this main event?
It was really fun. I mean, it feels like this is like a really content-packed main event. It feels like it was a really short match when in reality it was actually like fucking 15, 20 minutes. Like it went longer than it felt because it just had so much stuff going on. It was like boom, 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 and then it was over. And it was like, oh, wow, okay. Because like Roman showed up and there was that whole thing. Jay ended up with a big advantage with the Roman distraction. But yeah, Drew did end up winning with the old Claymore at the end. And then he kind of talked some shit to Roman.
Yeah, bro, since you recapped everything beautifully, and I don't want to be redundant, so I'm not even going to touch that, I just wanted to say that stare down between Roman and Drew, I had two thoughts cross my mind, right? I thought either Drew beats Orton this Monday and regains the title. That would be best case scenario to get that. Or, and then, maybe we could do one more trade-off with Orton becoming a 15-time world champion, because I actually feel like they want Orton to get to 16 like Cena. And then, because Rick even said, like, I want you, well, he said he wants him to break his record, but you get my point. Like, Rick wants that for Orton. So they might give it to him.
Are we going to get at WrestleMania 38 John Cena versus Randy Orton one more time for a vacant championship to determine who hits 17?
Bro, if that fucking happens, everybody needs to mark the date and the time down right now, because that'll be the biggest fucking call in history. If, like, you saw it coming from that far away. So maybe, man. But it's funny you mentioned WrestleMania. This is a perfect segue back to me talking about this main event. Because I also worry, I saw that stare down, dude, and to their credit, for their time period, I don't want to be hyperbolic, so I want to qualify. For their time period, I got kind of Rock Austin vibes looking at these two staring each other down. Yep. Because it's two guys that aren't going to be known for flippy shit or, oh my God, such work rate, much wow. But their charisma is off the charts, dude. And I saw that stare down and I'm like, if you screen cap that and you put it on a WrestleMania poster, I believe it. Dude, it crossed my mind. I'd be lying to you if I said it didn't. Is Drew going to win 2 Rumbles in a fucking row and actually challenge Roman and choose to go after the Universal title? Because he eliminated Roman to win the Rumble this year.
Ooh, so we can do like Roman Drew and then like Orton Fiend.
See, I wish, but I still think they're committed to doing Orton Edge. That's still my opinion until.
Oh yeah, otherwise. Well that's fine too, as long as it's not taking away from Drew. I'd be down for that. I mean, here's the thing: I still do want Big E to win, but if Big E is out of the cards, if he's not even someone that they're considering, then yeah, please, Drew over like fucking Orton again, or like even Edge. Like I love Edge, but I don't want him winning a fucking Royal Rumble at almost 50 years old, for fuck's sakes.
Here's the thing, bro. I'm glad we're having a little bit of discussion about this, because, again, I'd be lying to you if I said it didn't cross my mind. Because, again, Drew eliminated Roman to win his first Rumble this year, and then next year to win it, and then to challenge Roman would be some great narrative shit. That would almost be some New Japan shit by WWE, and I'm very impressed by that. I do want it to be Big E, but I actually thought of it, and I didn't copy this in my notes because I knew I'd remember it here. Even if it wasn't E, which I know we're all rooting for him, as we should, the dude is so fucking good. There is one positive about that being a world title main event. Again, with the thing that I just said about them kind of emanating that Rock Austin energy, is that you're not using a Rock or an Austin. These are full-time guys on your roster, and that is a believable main event. Again, even people that are rooting for E, I would want you to put that aside for a second and tell me you didn't feel the electricity of those two staring each other down.
Yeah.
And those are full-time guys that aren't like coming in for a paycheck. So if those two guys were to main event Mania, that would be a big win for the company that, like, hey, we didn't use a single fucking part-timer in this main event. These are the guys holding it the fuck down. Finally. And it feels so earned. And again, I know Big E's everybody's like first pick, and it would still apply if Big E got this, right? Because he's been hustling and grinding. But it would still apply if it was Drew. And that's all I want. I've waited for like a real world title main event from guys that aren't part-timers and are really ready to carry the fucking company. And I looked at that image and I'm like, these are the guys, whether we like it or not. And right now I'm loving it personally. I think both these guys are on top of their game. That's a main event I could vibe with. It really is. That's a main event. If WWE wasn't a shit company for like ethical reasons, I would pay for a network subscription for that main event. Honest to God. I'm like, yeah, they make me believe it. So I just wanted to talk about that with you, bro, because it's either happening at Survivor Series and we get it out of the way, which would be the best case for everybody rooting for Big E. But, dude, if it doesn't, we need to seriously think about Drew winning the Rumble again, 2021, and challenging Roman, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and that, you know what, that's like, you're absolutely right that that's a possibility, and I'm open to that possibility, but we're definitely jumping the gun here talking about it when there's a really legitimately good chance that Drew will just win the title back and be against Roman at Survivor Series this year.
Oh, dude, absolutely. But you know what I love about it, though, in the spirited conversation happening in chat? That could happen. The Survivor Series matchup, straight up, I completely agree with you. If that doesn't happen, I still say Rumble is very much on the table, but so is Keith Lee. So is Big E. Like, they're in that pocket right now, dude, where a lot of guys... Now, we know that the herd's going to start being thinned a little bit based on the build, but I love that they've got guys that, like, we're just like, not only could we see them winning it, but if they actually wanted to give the Rumble winner the fucking main event spot rather than the fucking curtain jerker, right? I could see Big E in a main event. I obviously could see Drew in a main event. He just did it this year. I could see Keith Lee with his presence in a main event. It's a good time for the company. I just don't know if they know how good they have it. That's the question. And then you got undercarders like Murphy that could really make a dent, because you talking about Seth and Murphy at TLC, I'm like, well, shit. You can give Murphy a big win and fucking get him in the ring with Roman. Like, it's a good time roster-wise, and it has been for a while. I just feel like now we're really starting to see more coherence in that age for them. And it's really exciting. So, with that said, do you have anything else you want to say about this main event or any discussions you'd like to have based on this Smackdown? No? All right, then let us get into high spots and low shots. I'm going to make this really simple. My low shot is Jey Uso. He put his foot in his mouth tonight with Drew, got Roman mad at him. Roman expected him to make Drew understand, and the only thing Jey Uso understood at the end of the night was how much a Claymore to the face fucking hurts. So, Jey Uso is my low shot because he lost Drew, and he might have lost even more of Roman's respect than he had already. Who's your low shot?
Yeah, Jay had a pretty brutal night for sure. My low shot is going to be... I might as well have a little bit of fun with this and say Dolph Ziggler, because, like, dude, you just got done making fun of this guy, and then he beat you, so what does that say about you? This is why you never bury your opponents in wrestling.
Yeah, not only did he beat you, like, let's put some stank on it. He beat your ass.
He pretty well dominated you, for sure. Honorary low shot to Seth Rollins, though, because he got betrayed, and he lost the final match in a big, long feud, so you could argue he lost the feud in the end. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's a great argument you just made, brother. My high spot, I too wanted to have fun with it, Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people won matches tonight, and a lot of people are looking good at his rosers, but Sami Zayn won a match with the least effort to me because of his ingenuity, and that's better than just winning. He is looking to be in fantastic shape heading into Survivor Series. My Intercontinental Champion, our Intercontinental Champion, now and until the end of time, as far as I'm concerned. Sami Zayn's my high spot. Who's your high spot, brother?
Oh, and another honorary low shot, Chelsea Green, because, like, she had a very anticlimactic debut/return, however you want to, phrase it. And, like, apparently she was supposed to win the match, but she got injured, so she couldn't. So that leads to my high spot. It's the person that benefited from Chelsea Green being unable to win the match due to her injury. That's Liv Morgan. Apparently she wasn't even booked to win this match, but she did anyway because Chelsea got hurt, and Liv was just like the next best choice, I guess. So props to Liv for picking up the win here, even though it wasn't necessarily originally supposed to happen. Hate that Chelsea got injured, but love to see Liv getting a shot in the 5-on-5 match. Hope she's not the first eliminated.
Absolutely. All right. Well, with that said, this has been Smackdown. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my corner and commentary action. Guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for Smackdown reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So do consider leaving a like. We greatly appreciate it. Be sure to comment down below when this video is done processing. Talk to us. How do you think about the SmackDown women's team, how they're coming along? Are you still enjoying Roman Reigns being, the tribal chief? What are we thinking about Carmella going after Sasha Banks? Just give us your thoughts on all things SmackDown. We'd love to hear from you. Subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications so you never again miss any of that sweet, sweet TWitWoW goodness. And check out the description box below for everything that TWitWoW is a part of, including our Twitter handles, our Facebook, our Teespring store, and our Twitch, because we dominate the Y and T. WC, as my co-writer commentary is fond of saying. The only thing I will plug more in depth is the Patreon. We're giving a more in-depth breakdown of what we do on Patreon since we are no longer doing catch-up commentaries. Hallelujah for that. And we are back to doing reviews. We've gone home again. So look at our Patreon goals and how that, affects reviews. You can also see how TWitWoW request lives happen and the whole breakdown there. And the two things that I want to plug specifically on the Patreon, Q&A and the Discord, beginning with the Q&A that will be November 26th, Thanksgiving. We're all going to give our thanks for this beautiful podcast that you guys make possible, and we deeply appreciate you for that. So be sure to submit some great questions. Maybe we'll even get some Thanksgiving-related questions. I'm just waiting for somebody to ask, well, what's your favorite side at Thanksgiving or something like that, right? So for Q&A, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, where you can submit your Q&A questions. $1 for the Patreon if you donate will get you up to 5 Q&A questions. So for anybody that donated $1, say last month you're going to get your 5 Q&A questions this month, and non-Patreon donors you get 3 Q&A questions per Q&A. Also with the Patreon, $3 for Discord access. It's a great community. We've got pretty much a table or a tablet, or a tab, Jesus, if I can speak, for pretty much everything. See, I'm so hyped about it. It's such a great offer. I can't even speak. We've got a tab for pretty much everything. It's a real tight-knit community, wonderful people. You all know that because I know a lot of the people I'm talking to are a part of it, and you're fucking beautiful. So do consider joining the Discord, $3 a month. And yeah, like I said, Q&A will be November 26th. Most immediately, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 9. We are previewing the Stardom November 15th show with the just amazing doubleheader of Konami versus Julia for the Wonder of Stardom Championship and Mayu versus Utami for the World of Stardom title. Let me tell you guys something. We watched the Tag League finals today. If you're not on the Stardom train, there's no such thing as too late. Get on that shit. Get on the best women's wrestling on the planet. Subscribe to Stardom World. It's only just it's under $10 a month. It's absolute fucking steal. I would say far better than the WWE Network for my money, but that's just one man's opinion. So Saturday at 9, again, we will be previewing the November 15th show with that incredible doubleheader. And then we have Sunday off, and then Monday we will be back with a Monday Night Raw review. Of course, if you want the most comprehensive breakdown, I heartily recommend going to Ashton's Twitter at Ashton_TwitWoW. His pinned tweet is the schedule for every month, and I know he just got done updating the schedule with a few new things included, so really appreciate him for that. He's always so good about that. And with that said, guys, we'll see you Saturday at 9, so tomorrow night at 9 for our preview of the November 15th show. And until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, keep loving that wrestling as well as yourselves. And until then, tune in. Peace out.